Greater Memphis Chamber. Ted Townsend joining us today once again to talk about this development. Now, your business is growing the economy here in Memphis and the Mid-South region, but the prospects you have on your chamber watch list now, and I know there are a lot of companies that you have doing that, are watching how Memphis treats businesses like XAI and these kinds of things. That Shelby County Commission resolution still has to be passed by the full commission, but what can you tell us about these turbines, and the concerns about spreading emissions at XAI?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, we have 41 prospects right now. These are companies that are considering Memphis for investment. And our focus is to create a great environment so that those companies are attracted here, invest, and create jobs. Now, with respect to XAI, the local advocates and their concerns are incredibly valid. We appreciate their focus on sustainable development. It's the same focus that the Chamber has and the community at large, as well as the company. So we want to make sure that there is available information for the public to discern. We want to be fully transparent. We have an FAQs section on the memphischamber.com website that answers and addresses a lot of these concerns. But with respect to the turbines, you know, they currently have what's called a SCR technology, so selective catalytic reduction, and that reduces emissions by 80 to 95%. And the health department basically rates them as a minor emissions piece of equipment, no different than a gas station or a dry cleaner. So the company has invested heavily in making sure that they protect the environment and that it's sustainable. And the same is true with the wastewater, in investing $80 million in protecting our aquifer.
That's right. And so let's talk about that now. Since you were last here on A Better Memphis, Council approved the sale of land. I think it was 13 acres. XAI is buying for this gray water treatment plant, and this will preserve the fresh water in our Memphis sand aquifer and process wastewater and reuse it for cooling at XAI, and shows XAI is concerned about environmental impact. And here's an investment of $80 million.
That's right. And from day one, they were asking questions about how they could utilize water to cool the computer, not our drinking water. And so they've been looking for solutions. Mary Young and Doug McGowan, president of MLGW, had been exploring this for a decade. And so obviously the desire was there. The company came with a solution very quickly. And again, $80 million in a state-of-the-art, will be the largest wastewater facility of its kind. It will preserve 13 million gallons of water per day. That's a 9% reduction of water usage right now, and that equates to about 4 to 5 billion gallons of aquifer water per year. TVA will come off the aquifer, Nucor, as well as XAI.
And so all of these industries will be using this same great water treatment plant. Now, XAI plans to expand exponentially in Memphis. They have announced a contract on another property in Southwest Memphis. Will XAI have the same power demands and need another gray water treatment plant at that location in order to cool those jets?
So first off, the facility that they purchased, which we love because now they're landowners in Memphis, Tennessee, and it's a 1 million square foot facility. This is allowing them to expand to 1 million GPUs or graphics processing units here in Memphis. So the current Super Colossus computer has 225,000 GPUs, and now so they're allowed to go on their march to 1 million. Obviously, it's going to be high power demand, but the technology is advancing so much, Joe. They are still assessing exactly how much load they will require for this facility, but we are exploring ways in which they can provide that, as well as the water that may be needed. We could be looking at air-cooled technology versus water.
All right, very good. Well, Memphis is on the radar now in a big way with XAI's presence here in the Colossus supercomputer. And how has this impacted what's happening at the Chamber?
Well, suddenly Memphis is thrust into that lexicon of great global tech hubs. And as part of our Digital Delta platform, all of these globally recognized tech companies now suddenly see Memphis as viable. XAI is bringing in Dell and Supermicro and NVIDIA, and they're looking at significant operations here in our region. These are going to bring more high quality jobs. They're going to bring intensive capital investment in our community. And so it's that multiplier effect that you hope a major project like this brings, like with a Blue Oval City and Ford.
So you have those major names that
Yes.
are talking to
Absolutely.
the chamber. They're obviously sending people here.
Yes.
You're obviously having meetings with them, and
We
those
are.
are, not things that reporters get to cover because it's
True.
business, and
That's right.
you're trying to expand the economy, and business is not done on local TV or national TV. It's
Right.
done, in private meetings,
Right.
over dinners, lunches, and in
A little
offices.
bit of everything, yeah.
But can you give us some sense of the size of the kind of organizations that these companies that you just named,
Yeah.
Dell and the others?
Yeah, so we're still calculating what those jobs will be, but anywhere from 300 to 500 per operation. Again, the capital investment is intense here, so we don't know exactly the amount. But once we identify the site, the building, and how much they can put in there, we'll be able to calculate those jobs and capital investment. But to have those kinds of brands see Memphis as viable is what excites us, and that's really what we want to focus on. And we hope the community understands that too.
Do they need to be near XAI sites?
Not necessarily. They would love the proximity of where they're currently going, but XAI is continuing to expand, so that really creates more opportunities for that proximity. But we have a lot of great sites, and they're excited about reviewing those right now.
All right, Ted Townsend, we'll be excited to welcome
Thank
you
you.
back to talk about this some more.
Absolutely.
On a future visit. We know you're working toward a better Memphis every day.
Absolutely,
Thank
we
you
are.
very much, sir.
Thank you, Joe.